Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumat Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about how to be more sure of yourself, how to be much more certain. You see, in order for us to understand certainty, we have to understand what causes uncertainty. All right. Now, there might be something that happened in your life that is surprising, maybe a certain kind of trauma. Maybe you were bullied when you were younger. Maybe you had some kind of childhood abuse. Maybe there was a situation where it really made you unsure of yourself. Am I being the right kind of person right now? Or are others going to judge me right now? Etc., etc., etc. Once you see that, once you understand that, and you understand that there's a whole slew of limiting beliefs that you can get from certain situations, now what you can do is understand what makes somebody incredibly certain. The thing about certainty is you want to ask the right questions. A lot of the times we ask really dumb questions, especially to ourselves and to other people. We know the answer already, but we'll still ask it. The real secret here is to ask mind-altering questions, okay? Consciousness-expanding questions that get you to think outside the current box that you're in. And the more you push the limits of the current box that you're in, then you can grow. The bigger the box, the bigger the possibility. So, let me just remind you that lasting certainty comes from having your inner conditioning overpower your external conditions, which have happened to you. Okay, let me say that again. Your inner conditioning overrides the external conditioning that has happened to you. Now, as you go on this certainty journey, you might wonder about a couple of things, because there are things to notice, such as delivery, tonality, eye contact, precision, attention to detail, how your pace is, how you're moving about, how you carry energy within your body. All of these things come into play. But we like to focus on one thing. We're like, oh, give me that magic pill, it'll make me more certain. No, it doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. You might have taken 1,000 courses on certainty, but it won't make you more certain until you decide, until you make the choice that I'm going to work on becoming more certain. And I'm going to put in the action steps to implement that certainty. So the more you do something over and over and over and over again in repetition, you become more certain in that area. You become more skilled in that area. I have an equation here: hard work equals education, which equals certainty, which equals profit or money or whatever, outcome. Without the first initial hard work, you're not going to feel certain of it. If you're putting in half of the work, or you don't want it bad enough, then it's not going to feel like you have an area of certainty in whatever you want to get certain in. You might just get confused by popular culture, and this was what happened to me. I got very confused, you could say, by all of this various information, this digital overload and onslaught of information that didn't really have anything to do with my own journey. I mean, people were giving their opinions and they felt like they said it in a very certain way, and I thought, man, maybe they're right. Maybe that is the way towards certainty. But until you get to that self-reliance and forming your own opinions, you're not really coming from that certainty. Understand that people will tell you very mainstream advice when it comes down to this. Be yourself, also don't be yourself, right? And that can be a paradox. It's like, what if yourself is this wimpy kid who does nothing and stays in the basement playing video games 24/7? What if that is the version of you? And maybe you don't want to be that, but you're sort of tackling with the pain in your own way, and you're doing that over and over again. Is that going to make you more certain? Well, maybe more certain in video games. Yeah, for sure. Because you've put in the 10,000 hours of mastery into video games, maybe you will be a great gamer. However, what about in other areas of your life? What if you want to get certain in a very specific area? The same way that you've been locking yourself up in the basement and playing video games, the same kind of attitude you have to have with that one area. So if this is becoming more social with people, put yourself in more social situations. All right? If you want to become a better reader, start reading more. Just keep reading. Reading everything. Reading pamphlets, reading menus, reading postcards, everything. Just start reading it, reading billboards, right? It doesn't have to be books per se. Just start reading things, okay? Getting better at that. So whatever skill you want to implement, you want to engorge yourself, you want to immerse yourself in that and learn from that osmosis, all right? That's one of my principles, is learning from osmosis, getting the mentors, getting the people around me who I want to model and be inspired by. Now, that does not mean model everything that they're doing. And don't ever model one person, but a multiple people around you. A lot of certainty also comes from this space of self-acceptance. I know a lot of teenagers are also out there, smoking a lot of marijuana. Well, the idea of ananda or anandamide, right? Ananda is the word. It is an anandamide, which is what is released through smoking. That is, you feel a lot more self-acceptance when you smoke. Okay, so instead of that, I mean, what are some ways which you can create anandamide without exactly needing to? Getting into the flow state. All right, getting into the flow state, doing breath work, doing certain things that channel your own energy, or practice active self-acceptance. I've done nothing against, different people, using different substances. I don't have anything against that, but I would just tell you that there is another possibility and there is another way. Understand that you got to be okay with your flaws. You can't be like, oh man, I have this thing and I really need to work on this one area. Like, that's still uncertain, right? So you've got to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is a gift to yourself. It's not a gift to the person that you're forgiving. It's always a gift to yourself, because you are going to be unchained by the overwhelming or looming moments, right? The longingness of that. So another thing, being proactive instead of reactive, okay? Now, this is really, really important, because in life, a lot of us, we start getting reactive. We become the effect of the world. So things are happening to us from other people. This person did this to me. This person did that to me. Okay, we start reacting to them instead of taking the action steps to actually solve the issues, right? So the thing is, you want to become the type of person that increases your implementation velocity, okay? Now, you can only do this if you're the type of person who's hardwired into their identity that I am an action taker, that I'm the type of person who does this. Okay, if you don't believe it within yourself and your self-image doesn't identify as the type of person who takes action, it's not going to kick in, all right? You're still going to convince yourself, yeah, but I'm a procrastinator. Yeah, but I'm the type of person who does this. But yeah, no, I'm the lazy guy. No, I am the shy person, right? You're still going to convince yourself of all these other identity factors. Whereas the simple step can be when you slowly start to identify and tell yourself, no, I am an action taker. And you reflect back to all the times that you have taken action. Oh, I took action for this and that got me a great result. Oh, I took action for that and that brought me an amazing result. So you actually reflect and you start to see the storyline of your life very differently now. Because what you are now realigning within yourself is the fact that, oh, I guess I was an action taker. And I've just been fooling myself and convincing myself otherwise of a different storyline. So where have you taken action, right? Where have you been certain in your life? It's time to stack those moments up instead of push them away and be like, oh yeah, I remember in first grade, I was kind of certain, I guess. No, that's not the language of certainty. I guess, kind of, maybe, perhaps, sort of, I know, I'm afraid so. You're afraid so? Really? Because your uncertainty is going to come through within your language. If you're going, yeah, how are you? How are you doing, sir? I'm fine. I'm fine? You don't sound like you're fine, right? So the thing is, there's a subtext beyond and underneath the words. And you've got to understand that. In order for you to be certain, you have to know what the subtext is saying. Someone could be like, I really want to order this book. Now, what if their subtext was saying that, I'm not sure if this book will get me the result that I want? How would they say that same sentence differently? Hey, I was thinking I really want to, order this book. It's almost like the whole sentence itself is a question mark. It's like you're asking for validation from other people to make sure that this book is okay for you to purchase. You get what I'm saying? So it's still coming from that uncertainty. It's still coming from hesitation. The remedy to this is simply action. You're like debating whether, oh, should I watch this on Netflix or this thing? Decide. Decide, make the wrong choice, decide again. Decision, I've noticed a lot of successful people in my life are fast decision makers. They're very quick at deciding. They don't take like hours deciding on one thing, right? They're like scrolling through the Instagram, like, oh, what should I repost today? Blah, 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 blah. And they take like 14 minutes to decide on what to post. Whereas the person who knows, this kind of makes me laugh, boom, I'll post this. That person is what? They're saving time, one, they're saving energy, two, three, what are they doing? They're having a lot more fun during the process because they're like trusting their gut instinct, and they trust in themselves, and so they get a positive boost from that too. And then finally, their mind is on their side, right? Their mind is not going, oh wait, this thing, no, this other thing, I guess, no. So this is really, really subtle stuff. But if you can understand this, you can work towards much more certainty, my friends. Another thing, I want to leave this video with lots of wisdom tsunamis for you guys, okay? So the last thing is pacing. Pacing and leading. This is something you learn in NLP. So if you're talking to somebody and they're speaking very fast, make a note of that. If you're talking to somebody, they're speaking very slow, make a note of that. However their pacing is, or in the way that they speak, maybe they speak with slang, maybe they speak with an accent, maybe they speak in a particular way that is very unique to them, whatever it is, just make a note of it. And you want to come in with that similar kind of energy, not copying them, not mimicking them, no. Similar kind of energy, similar pacing. So if they're going very fast, you want to come in really fast as well, but then you want to bring them back down to your level. So you want to lead them slowly through as you're speaking something to come back down to your level. That's how you lead someone. That's how you take the command of the conversation. If you come in at a slower pace than them, they're not going to listen to you. And if you come in at a much faster pace than them, they'll think you're trying to, one up over them or take power or domination over them. This is not what we want. We want to come at that level. So if you have someone speaking really fast, let's say, hey, I wonder if you should go some froyo. You're like, oh yeah, I think that's a great idea. Let's go some froyo, right? You come in with that pace. It sounds weird to do that if you're not a person who's not used to doing that, right? But this is why you got to practice. Be able to use your voice and your communication as an instrument so you can calibrate that instrument and expand it and make it much more expansive in a tool that can save you from many different situations and problems in your life. Because there is going to come a time where you feel like, oh man, I'm going to have to do this and I'm going to have to do that, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable while doing this. But if you have certainty, it overrides that. All right? So I hope this video helps you out today. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legendary.